concentrating on the Jewish festival of Lag BaOmer, which happens to be this evening. What did some of the Sephardi countries, let's just say the Spanish, North African countries, how did they mark this day of itself respectively? So we know Lag BaOmer actually stands for the, let's say, the Gematria 33, and it happens to be the 33rd day of the counting of the Omer. Naturally, it's on the 18th of Iyar, Yudchet Iyar. Very interesting. Now, some Rishonim believe it marks the end of a plague that killed Rabbi Akiva's 24,000 students. Remember, it was 12,000 pairs of students, and the plague terminated on this specific day. It concludes, let's say, the mourning period of Sefirat HaOmer in many communities. Obviously, we still count the Omer all the way till Shavuot, but the mourning restrictions will be lifted. Especially among Sephardi communities, it would be held of Lamed Dalet. There's different Kabbalistic traditions, and it's a celebration of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. The 18th of Iyar marks the passing of the great rabbi, and he is buried actually in Meron, and the various different popular customs happen on this specific day. As we all know, there's a lighting of bonfires all over the Jewish world. And many people actually come to Meron. Many people come down there. They light fires. There are many great rabbanim from all the different walks of different hashkafot of the Jewish community, respectively. And they commemorate. Some people also commemorate this day, especially in Israel, as within regards to the Bar Kokhba revolt against Romans, especially in modern day Israel. It's seen on this specific day. So it's got two, let's say, powers from those two different aspects this specific day. Now, the origin of Lag BaOmer, we call this a more minor Jewish festival. Let's say it's not necessarily crystal clear where the actual roots, let's come in of itself. There was a great rabbi who references this. I think he was from the 12th century. His name was Rabbi Yitzchak ben Dorbolo. I believe he actually was from northern France. He noted that it's, let's just say, coincidence with Purim in his annotation of the Machzor Vitri, if I'm not mistaken. Rav Avram ben Natan also will mention Lag BaOmer, I think in his book called the Sefer Minhag. I think this was a book that came early 13th century, but they don't necessarily specifically mention the actual origin of it. There's a Talmudic passage cited, I think, by Menachem Meiri, I think, where it states obviously 24,000 Rabbi Akiva students would perish in a plague during the Omer count, with Lag BaOmer, the 33rd day of the Omer, being when the plague, let's say, ended, according to the great geniuses, Geonim, respectively. It's also interesting, I think, various different other Kabbalistic traditions associate Lag BaOmer within regards to various locations around Meron during the month of Iyar. And very interesting. There's different sources, let's just say, where it's the holiday was connected to Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. Where was the original thing in of itself? But it's interesting. We do know that the students of Rabbi Akiva did stop passing away on that specific day. The plague actually ended. He'd end up with 5 great students, also Rabbi Akiva. One of them would be Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. And through these 5 great students, he had the Torah for generations to come, will be perpetuated on an incredible level. It's reported that in the Middle Ages, Lag BaOmer became a special day for rabbinical students. It was known as a Rabbi's Day or Scholars' Day, where they celebrated with joy, respectively. Also, this is, I'm not too sure the source for that in of itself. Now, there's Kabbalistic significance also. I'm reading this from the Sephardic U website, that Lag BaOmer is a Jewish holiday that carries, let's say, a Kabbalistic importance. Obviously, we know the Omer itself assigns to Sefirat each day and week. Obviously, 33rd being Lag BaOmer, that's the Gematria, corresponds to Hod, She Bahod, the splendor within the week of splendor. This represents a level, let's just say, of spiritual manifestation that precedes, let's say, the more physical manifestation of the 49th day, which is said over to be Malchut, Sheh, Malchut, kingship within the kingship, which immediately precedes a holiday of Shavuot, one of the 3 pilgrimage festivals. It's no coincidence. This week actually is Parshat Emor, and we talk about the Shalosh Reglim, the 3 pilgrimage festivals of Shavuot, of Pesach and Sukkot, respectively. So there's great, let's say, significance from the spiritual levels that one can achieve on this specific awesome day, respectively. Now, there's different customs, we could say, about Lag BaOmer. Naturally, being the 33rd day, it's this break in the semi-morning period with itself. All restrictions for Ashkenazi Jews, for many communities, will be, let's say, lifted. Sephardic Jews end their mourning period the following day, obviously on the 34th day of the Omer. Ashkenazi Jews will obviously share weddings, parties, listening to music, haircuts on Lag BaOmer, while Sephardi Jews will hold weddings the next day, only from Lag BaOmer. The occasion is there's a tradition held at the tomb of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai in Meron, in Israel, or actually, interesting enough, also in the grave of Shimon HaTzadik, for people that maybe live in Jerusalem and it's difficult to travel to Meron. Many Jewish communities will also mark the day by giving their 3-year-old children a haircut. It's known as a chalika in Israel and various communities. Also, Abshurim, I think in America, they will call this. Families might go on picnics on this day, outings. There's outdoor activities. You will see many, especially in Israel, different communities will do different extravaganzas, let's just say. The tefillah of Tachanun is not recited on the specific day of Lag BaOmer also. And it's seen as a festive day where Hashem has got like is more happy with Am Yisrael. Piyutim, let's see, they examine Sephardic Jews, we know, would recite prayers and poems called Piyutim here on Lag BaOmer. The most famous one being the song Bar Yochai, which I think was written actually by a great Libyan rabbi, I think maybe 500-600 years ago, if I'm not mistaken, Rab Lavi, if I'm not mistaken. This song praises Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, who is obviously the main rabbi associated with this Jewish holiday. There's other piyutim, which focuses, let's just say, on the topic of joy, redemption, and light. Where there's traditional evening service prayers, where we say thanks to Hashem in general. And interesting enough, obviously, ideally, people should recite Tikkun Chatzot at night. People that are, really God-fearing, but more people might tend to do it on this specific night. That's a lamentation that expresses a mourning of the destruction of the Beit HaMikdash, a temple in Jerusalem, and the exile of the Jewish community, the Jewish people. Now, bonfires, many customs, many traditions from all over the place, not just Sephardi Jews, Ashkenazi Jews, will also to do bonfires. Many Sephardi communities will light bonfires. I think it's reported over that in Morocco, for example, there's a tradition to light candles instead of bonfires. It was at that point in time. Sephardic Jews also visit the graves of important great rabbis from those periods. Many great rabbis that might associate themselves with Kabbalah. They would recite back in the day, or even still nowadays, special prayers and engage in tefillah and Torah on a high level. It's marked with festive meal, music, dancing. There's various different Sephardic customs also associated with Lag BaOmer, such as baking special cookies. And reported over a popular cookie on Lag BaOmer is in the shape of a bow and arrow, possibly connected maybe to Bar Kochba. Okay, so why bows and arrows? It plays a significant role in celebration of Lag BaOmer for both religious and Zionistic traditions. Children in Israel played with bows and arrows, symbolize, I think there's a midrashic belief during the lifetime of Bar Yochai, the rainbow, which is God's promise to never destroy the world again by flood. Naturally, we know that in the book of Bereshit, in Parshat Noach. And Bar Yochai really protected the world, Rav Shimon Bar Yochai did. In Israel, Lag BaOmer is celebrated. Obviously, there's everyone celebrating it. Torah scholars, youth movements, children. It's also reported over, according to Zionistic belief, that it's a week of the Gadna program established on Lag BaOmer, I believe in the year 1941, represented once again by a bow and arrow emblem over here. Now, foods. There's no reports over in the Sephardi communities. There wasn't necessarily specific traditional food that was eaten, but many would have the custom to eat meat and chicken on this day. But obviously, because it's a day of celebration, it's not got the level, obviously, of Simchat HaChag, like Sukkot, Pesach, and Shavuot, respectively, where there's a mitzvah in the Torah to do it. But it's nice to report that some people will make special sweets or pastries to share with family and friends. In Israel, it's common to have grilled meats and vegetables, obviously during outdoor picnics and celebrations. Naturally, on Yom Ha'atzmaut, many people will also do that. And it varies, obviously, the food on Lag BaOmer depending on the cultural background and religious traditions on the different backgrounds of the Jewish community. Now, from a Zionism point of view, from a Torah perspective, over here, and we're just reading this from the Sephardi Q website. It's only actually a resource you could really find connected to Sephardi tradition and Lag BaOmer online, surprisingly enough. So I thank them for this. I'm just using the article based on there. I can't see the author's name here. The celebration of Lag BaOmer, let's just say in the modern state of Israel, went, let's say, there was various different transformation by, let's say, early Zionists who shifted its focus, let's say, maybe from a rabbinic-oriented holiday to the commemoration of Bar Kochba. Obviously, in Israel, we celebrate that Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. See bonfires all over, especially in the religious world. Also in regular communities, Chabad and stuff like that. But also, it's a point to note, many people will commemorate the Bar Kochba revolt during this time period. That happened, I believe, quoted over here in the Roman Empire, 132 to 136 Common Era. Now, it's actually interesting. I'm quoting a historian, someone with the same last name as me from the Rutgers University. By coincidence, I've opened this article over here, and it says there's a woman of the name, a historian over here, Yael Zerubbabel. Interesting enough, you can't make this up because I'm just opening this article. It's the only one I can find here, and I'm quoting it, and all of a sudden I see this name. Okay, she actually quotes a woman from Rutgers University. Zionist ideologies represent Lag BaOmer traditions to celebrate the victory of Bar Kochba rebels instead of, let's say, their ultimate defeat at Beitar 3 years later. To reinforce this interpretation, it's reported over that the textbooks in Israel portrayed Bar Kochba as also a hero of the holiday. Obviously, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai and Rabbi Akiva are the main people in this holiday, especially in the Haredi community. So among the more ultra-Orthodox, maybe, I don't know about the Dati Lomi so much, but all these great rabbis or people are actually really considered on this day. Obviously, in Israel, modern-day Israel, there's dancing, bonfires at night, and they would obviously, so hence, more religious communities will do this from the angle of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. More at the Zionistic, more modern communities will definitely, let's say, have in mind Bar Kochba, let's just say, with the bows and arrows to remember the rebel forces at this day. And it's actually, from a Zionistic point of view also, it reinforces, like I say, the beliefs of the establishment of a Jewish state over here. Lag BaOmer is a symbolizing of Jewish fighting spirit. I think the government designates it as a day for saluting our heroic IDF soldiers. And I think it's reported over that the Palmach division of the Haganah was established on Lag BaOmer in the year 1941, and the creation of Israel Defense Forces was announced on the same day in 1948. So there's a distinct. So you can see there's differences, but at the end of the day, all of us are Am Yisrael. We've got Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, the greatness of the rabbi, the plague stop of Rabbi Akiva, the significance of Sefirat Omer, and many people will look at the Bar Kochba revolt, and many people will look at modern Zionistic history also, how it's a powerful day. But remember, we've got the Jewish spirit. We've got to remember, at the same time, there's a spiritual spirit of Am Yisrael, which very much, and there's a physical spirit. So we've got to be on top on both levels in of itself, to have a love, Avat Yisrael, Yirat Shamayim for every single thing, love our fellow Jew, love Hashem, and have this in mind. So I thought it was an interesting article over here using that website. But if anyone has any more information from their countries, Sephardi countries, where they know of there was special things going on, whether it be in Tunisia, Libya, Morocco, Iran, Syria, Turkey, all these different vicinities, I'd love to hear more. So please write me a comment of what actually happened in that specific that locale, that specific country in itself. I would love to hear more. Now, friends, we're a community here. We're learning, as you see on the channel, loads within regards to the history of rabbis, especially from the Oriental and North African countries. Please subscribe now to the channel. The goal is to get to Shavuot, the festival of Shavuot, with 7,000 subscribers. We're really fast growing now at the moment, and we're absolutely booming. So please subscribe. Please share with your friends these videos also, and subscribe. And also, I'd like to dedicate this Lilui Nishmat, a great man who passed away suddenly a year ago, Avihu ben Esther. May he do mitzvot in his memory, do tehillim in his memory, and many good things in his memory. So wishing you well here from Israel. Take care and thanks very much. Have a fantastic day, friends. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much.